hope the microphone and everything is working today. Today I got a little bit more brighter light than yesterday. So what I'm planning today is to do a live writing of my fantasy world where I sort of fill in the details in a codex that I'm currently writing on. So this will be even more without structure than usual, but I will show two Word documents. The one on the left side will be the one containing more detail about the template that I'm using to write about different cultures and nations. And on the right side is the template, and on the right side you will find the document that I'm writing into. So we'll see how far I come today, but hopefully we'll be able to see some of the let me see now if I can get this to work. So we'll start by sort of switching over to the other camera or the other scene. See, now it will be, ooh. So now I can switch on the two different Word documents. Here on the right side, I have the document which I'm going to write more information about the different countries and nations and cultures in my campaign world. So on the left side, you can see that I use a template called Hermetics, which stands for History, Economy, Religion, Mechanics, Executive, Topography, Inhabitants, Culture, Social Scale. So I will try to fill out as much as I can tonight, and we'll see how it goes. So we will start first with the Elvish realm of Tau Fa. So if you go to the world map in Wonderdraft, you can see that Tau Fa is sort of at the top of this great southern continent. So it's a very big country, or rather realm, where all the elves in my campaign have been banished. So you can start by scrolling down and write some more. I can usually, when I'm writing for myself, I use keywords. I can later on flesh out the details, but sometimes it's easier to just use keywords, or even go on Pinterest and find some pictures that fits with what you have in mind, and you can sort of later on flesh out in words what you actually want to say. So I use keywords and sometimes also pictures to convey a particular theme, a particular detail. So let's see the history of the elves. The elves were banished from most of the countries after the Great Disaster 3,000 years ago. So this disaster was actually a meteorite impact, which can be seen here on the picture. This big crater here is the remnants of meteorite which struck my campaign world about some time ago. Hang on, I'll switch to English so it doesn't have those red lines all the time. So I have to go back because, of course, if it was, it has been a meteorite impact, but that was a very long time ago. So this is a crater that remains of it. How long ago, I will not say now. But this is sometimes I remember incorrectly. So the elves were banished because a great plague ran across the continent, and the elves were given was sort of given the boogeyman attribution to this. So they sort of a common this belief that the elves were behind this disease or this plague. So they were banished from most of the countries on the Great Southern Continent. So we can write. So the elves then had their own exodus in a way. So I think today I will mostly write, so I hope you'll be able to watch what I'm writing. I can zoom in a bit more so you can see. So this hermetic systems is the first time I use this. So this is actually a live write through of I'm doing it of it right now. So I'm trying to sort of fill in using this template on my left side. So I will see how far I get today. So, but I think it's if you're stuck in writing descriptions about the different cultures in your and countries in your campaign, a sort of template system as the Ceremetrics might be a good way to get your mind going in a way. So I've been writing about a little bit about their history, just very briefly. I can always flesh out later, but the main point is that I have some sort of information that I can later on fill in or write more about later on. Also, when my players ask about certain details, I'm more sure about my own campaign work. So next step is the economy. So I'm going to write a little bit about the economy. The next is religion. I don't really have any Elvish pantheon ready at the moment, but I'm sort of making the groundwork to later on make my own pantheon for the elves. But I think it's striking that the elves who have been through this exodus 3,000 years ago, they have in their pantheon, their gods. It has a strong connection to this traumatizing event that happened 3,000 years ago. So it's kind of natural that this Exodus has a strong relationship still in within the gods of the elves. And now let's place where the elves actually originated from. So the elves are located way north, so they sort of languish in the far north of the continent. And after the Exodus forced all the elves to this part of the world. But where did the elves come from? Because this is a central part of their shared cultural history. So let's find a place where the elves actually came from. And I think it's natural that they came from this place called the Endless Forest, which is now more or less uninhabited. So now I'm writing about how the elves think that the world was created in what they call, in what they say is 30,000 eons ago, also eternities ago. So, but that the world that they're living in right now is in between fluxes or great catastrophes that happen from time to time. And the elves believe that the world will end in 500 years. So this will of course have, based on their religion and persistent claims by Elvish clergy. So if this is just another one of example of doomsday cult, or if it actually is going to happen, that remains to be seen. But this Elvish belief in a great disaster that will turn the world over and make everything go back to where it was in the beginning, it's a belief the elves shares with other cultures as well. So later on we'll see that this is not really only elves that believe that the world is in between two catastrophes. So the next one is mechanics. That's okay. Let's see. I can write a little bit more about. See if it's more about, because you can see on the left side there is more text on each of these categories. So I've been writing about history, and I've skipped economy. Yeah. Oh, okay. I started with. Okay, I have been writing about economy. Okay, so let me see here. So there's more on religion. We can write more. For instance, So I'm just trying to write some details about the economic system that, since this is mostly a hunter farming society, there's very little gold and silver and other metals available within the realm. It has two reasons for that. One is that elves has distrust and scorns the metal industry in general, but also because it's very rare within. There is no, as the elves have tried to find, there's very little metals in within the realm itself, and they don't have the technology to extract these metals from the ground if there was to be a gold deposit. So yeah. So yeah, I will stop now. I think this is enough for today. I think also the battery in my camera is about to take the evening. So what I will be saying more, what I will say now is that in this template system, you can see that there is the categories which I've been writing about today, about the elves. It's their history, it's their economy, and their religion. I will also be writing about the mechanics, which is sort of gives rules, if you like. What are the limits of the magic? What are forbidden practices? What has magical abilities? And who can access it? All within the realm of the elves. The next one is executive, which is the different factions within the elves. So this I will write about the different clans in Tau Fau. So who they are, and a little bit what they control, and what kind of government is within the Elvish system, the Elvish realm. And on topography, I will write about the different regions. Are there any sort of particular landmarks that will be particularly useful for players to investigate? What is the weather? It's very cold. It's like northern Finland or northern Norway with a lot of forest, but snow most of the time of the year. And of course, this will also affect the society in general. The weather and the climate will certainly influence how people dress themselves, of course, but also how they speak and how they relate to each other. And then I will write about inhabitants, which will mean what kind of species will we find within the Elvish realm, and also culture. What are the most important features or flaws or differences of the Elvish culture? What are the main works of art, literature, and construction? And what do the elves prioritize in terms of their culture? What do they think it's important? So here again, we can write about high and low bro culture. There might be some culture that the more menial, the elves who are lower status really enjoy, and the elves who have a higher status really despise. Sort of similar to what we have today. And the last one is social scale. Who are the most important people? Who are the least important? And how do all these people of classes and clans, how do they coexist? So that will be the last bit I will on this template. So I don't know if this was useful. Anyway, this was just a test to see how my streaming setup works. So thank you for today, and maybe I'll do an update later on next week. Okay, thank you. Bye.